Hey, coach, so glad you found us on YouTube. Let me help you through this great journey. I have done it. I've won lots of championships, run one of the best programs in the country, coached NBA guys. I can help you become a better basketball coach. Teachhoops.com, I started it for the sole purpose of coaches like you. Let me help you. One-on-one calls, office hours, videos with me, you name it, we got it. I am here to help. There's no other place you're going to get the coach's personal email address. I want to be your Yoda. I want to be your mentor. Let me help you through this great journey we call coaching. All right, enjoy, coach.
Was always in love with the game of basketball. So I knew I was not good as a player, to play at the next level. So I decided to start coaching. Okay. Um, so growing up, I was actually really lucky. In terms, I coach AAU. I started with a with a person that I used to work at. We started an AAU program. We play in the States. I was coaching there for 5 years. Then we decided to bounce away from it.
Okay.
But then definitely, I was coaching grassroots basketball here in Puerto Rico
Okay.
until around 3 years ago that decided to stop coaching in terms of grassroots basketball.
And what do you mean by
Uh,
grassroots? Is that like,
like little league stuff, like
okay. Yep.
AAU sort of stuff. But in
Okay.
Puerto Rico, basketball is all year long, so there's a lot of tournaments. So Puerto Rico, there's
So kids,
basketball.
so we'll get into that. That's interesting. Pronounce your name again.
Raul, Raul,
Yep.
Raul in Spanish, Raul.
Raul. Okay, and the L gets like
Long,
long.
Raul. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
and the R is like yeah, just to curl your tongue, Raul.
Tongue, curl your tongue. Okay. All
Okay,
right. So does Puerto Rico work the same way as the States where you play like middle school, high
well,
school, college?
the basic, one of the difference between the United States and Puerto Rico in terms of youth basketball is that pretty much the structure is based on the tournaments, not the schools.
Okay. So
So
there's not like this
this
big high school tournament in Puerto Rico.
they are. I mean, they are, but the culture revolves more around the youth leagues instead of high school and
Okay.
college.
Okay.
Okay, so we started playing like competitively as six and under. Six and unders are players that have 5 years old and they're six on that specific year. From January to December, they have to be six on the next year after the tournament ends.
Okay.
So basically, we start at five. We start competing at five. Okay.
And are
We
you playing
we
on lower rims and smaller balls and stuff?
Yes. We play in 7 foot and a half. Seven
That's
foot and a
cool.
half.
Okay.
For 6 under and seven
Okay.
under. And when we start with 8 and under till 10 and under, we play on 8 foot and a half, eight
Okay.
feet and a half.
Okay.
And then after 12, we go to 10 feet ring. That's for shooting purposes and stuff.
Okay.
Then college basketball. I'm also assistant coach at the University of Puerto Rico for the women's team down here. So it's basically pretty much the same actual rulings in the states, but instead of National High School Federation, is FIBA ruling.
Okay. And then who does the college play?
Against other colleges here in Puerto Rico, we have a league. It's called LAI, Athletic Inter-University League in English,
Okay.
Liga Atlética Interuniversitaria. So we have around, in terms of the University of Puerto Rico, I coach at the Rio Piedras campus. We have the Bayamón campus, Humacao, Ponce. We have like five other of the same University of Puerto Rico, but other campuses. They play in the same league.
Okay.
Plus the private university. They have like, there's two groups out of 9 teams each. So basically 18 teams in total
In
for
total.
for males and females. Yes.
Okay. And then do they leave Puerto Rico to play at all or not?
Well, the universities that are NCAA certified, they
They are
do.
or not?
They
They are.
some of them we are. We are so the University of Puerto Rico, Bayamón, Rio Piedras, and Maya West. Those three campuses are NCAA teams. They
Okay.
choose. Right. So we take a travel in November to the States. Okay.
Okay.
But our university, for the economical purposes, we ask for, I don't know if it's spelled correctly, like a leave of absence,
Okay.
like to make a pause on the NCAA thing.
Oh, okay. And
Okay.
why?
Because in due to the economical situation of Puerto Rico, our funding is being cut by half, right?
Oh,
So
wow.
yes, so in terms of that, there's not enough money, to cover all the expenses
Right.
around that are involved in being NCAA and the trips and all that type of stuff, and the university decided to prioritize. So the funding that we still have, goes into scholarships, to keep the environment as healthy as possible.
So where do you think Puerto Rico is as far as the development of, in comparison to the States and in comparison to Europe?
Well, we emulate a lot that the United States does. Actually, we have similar game type,
Okay.
if that's spelled correctly.
Yep.
We don't have as much as athletes as the United States, but we definitely run a lot. We dribble too much, like the United States does.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, we are falling deeply in love with threes, as the United States is doing right now.
That is
so,
true.
but that is not, in my opinion, obviously, it's not a game that is actual very fit for our body type. You know, we don't fit in the European style as well, because Europeans are tall and strong,
Right.
right? So basically, we have to develop our own style game. My opinion would be like a passing game stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So
And
that's actually where the basketball, I think, the national teams are heading. Trying to figure out a happy medium between the United States ball and the European ball.
so how did the hurricane and stuff, did it set you back? Did it set, obviously it set Puerto Rico back, but
Hmm.
did it set the basketball back?
Um, I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
Actually, basketball it's basically still the same. Still going strong. It's the number one sport in Puerto Rico, and it's still going strong. If not stronger, after the hurricane, kids need to do something.
Right.
and,
Right. I'm still surprised that there's not a bigger soccer influence.
well,
Hey,
actually,
coach,
my
so
my
glad you
kid
found us on
plays
YouTube.
soccer, and
Let me help
as a
you through this
parent,
great
and
journey.
he
I
plays
have
always
done it.
soccer
I've
right
won
now.
lots of
So
championships,
I can
run
I
one of the
can
best
say that
programs in the
experience that
country, coach
it's
NBA
wisely.
guys.
It
I can
applies to me a
help you
lot.
become a better
But
basketball coach.
in different
Teachhoops.com, I started for the sole
in
purpose
different parts of the world,
of coaches like you. Let
in
me
Puerto
help
Rico,
you.
soccer
One-on-one
is
calls, office hours, videos with
categorized
me.
as
You
a
name it,
rich
we got
as a
it.
rich people
I am
sport.
here to help. I
Yeah.
don't. There's no other
Yes.
place you're going to get the coach's
Yeah,
personal
and you
email address.
see
I want to
that
be your Yoda. I want to be
the
your
soccer
mentor. Let me
players and
help
the
you through this great
families
journey we
usually
call
wealthy
coaching.
people.
All right, enjoy,
Yeah.
coach.
That's crazy because in most parts of the world, it's not that way. All you need is some of the best soccer players in the world played with like a rolled up
That's what I said.
sock.
That's what I say. That's what I say. Everybody, but soccer is expensive in Puerto Rico. It's expensive.
Is it
So
space? Is it space? Is that the reason it takes a lot of space? Or
actually I don't know. I think
that's
it's a
crazy.
cultural thing.
It's
I
a
think it's a
cultural
cultural
thing.
thing.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So what do you think the strengths and weaknesses are of Puerto Rico
Uh,
basketball?
well, in terms of we actually like to play. So we play with heart. I mean, if
Right?
that's actually term.
Yes.
So we play hard.
Right.
We play hard, and the actual good coaches, right, play a lot with the passing game, and we have long possessions. So
Okay.
since we're not athletes, to be running up and down.
Right.
Usually, what are good coaches, they play long possessions here, passing games. Uh, what I call long route plays, like the set plays that are really, really long. Our head coach of our university is actually really good in terms of that. We have a deep playbook in terms of the sets that we run, and we basically play that way.
Okay.
So one set play could take like 12 to 15 seconds of the shot clock.
Oh,
And then
really?
right after that, yeah. So if we play, when we play organized, actually we actually look really pretty good actually. So in terms of say weakness,
Even for the youth, what do you think? What's the skill set that it's probably
well,
similar to the States, maybe, but
yeah, is I would say pretty much it's basically the same in terms of skill set. What is actual difference? It's the athleticism, but we handle the basketball pretty well. That's very popular. You know,
right.
ball handling, and shooting. It's very popular. So right now there's a big boom of skill coaches down here in Puerto Rico, and pretty much what they specialize is ball handling and shooting. So
Because
that's what.
it's easier to teach too, probably one on
Yeah,
one. Yeah,
definitely,
yeah.
definitely. My actually, I own a business in terms of that, of skill development here in Puerto Rico, and I actually emphasize in different things. You know, basically footwork and passes, and
Right. And the thing is, and I would work on, I mean, personally, yeah, I would work on footwork passing. I would work on help side defense and
uh,
rotation and using
definitely,
using your smarts, you know.
yeah,
If you're not quite
def,
as quick, then use your advantage on that. Um,
ASAP.
so is there anything unique you think you do in practice?
What do you mean? Me
Like is
personally,
for the college team. For the college team, is there anything unique or something you do practice wise that you think might interest people that are listening?
we actually practice passing a lot. It's actually very different in our culture. In our culture, we don't practice passing enough. In Puerto Rico basketball, we don't practice pass enough because it's boring, right? So we actually we as a team we practice passing a lot. So in terms of that different kind of situation, it's very similar the PGC format in
Right.
terms of passing, but we actually try to go in a little game by situation, right? Plus, also we do a lot of without dribbling games, just focusing on passing and cutting and moving. We
I know.
play
I
a
love
lot.
that. I love that
Yeah,
too.
we
I love running stuff where they can't dribble and it forces them to do something. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah. It
we
forces them to do
actually do
something.
that a lot.
Yeah, that's a really good thing, I think. If you could only do three things at practice, what would be the three things?
Uh, Defense,
Okay.
shooting, and the third will be the it's will be depending on which of our time frame. If we are
Okay.
in pre training, if we are in if we are actually in season, pre-season, off season, depending on the season that we do. But if I would have to, I would say defense, I would say shooting, and I would say passing. I would
Okay.
say those are your three skills, because if you can do those three things correctly, everything will fall right into
You
place.
can win a lot of games. Um,
Yeah.
so describe your coaching philosophy.
Um. Well, me personally,
You.
I
Yeah,
yeah,
not as an assistant, because it's different as an assistant, but
yeah,
as your
definitely.
coaching philosophy.
Yeah, I don't. I actually don't coach by numbers. I actually believe that basically, all the players should have a decent skill set in terms of dribbling, passing, and shooting. I focus a lot of my teams. I focus a lot of off season and preseason in terms of doing that. Even in season, we still give a lot of Anthony stuff, to dribbling, passing, and shooting. Okay,
Right.
after we have that all stuff in place. Sorry, language barrier here for me.
Yeah, it's all right. You're doing
Yeah.
no comprendo
So
nada. Like I said, no Spanish for me, none.
yeah. So basically, in regards to that, we practice on ball defense in terms of defensive philosophy. I prefer pack line defense instead of
Right.
denying. So in terms of defensive philosophy, we say pack line.
Yep.
Um, in terms of offense philosophy, I like to run sets. to run sets. So I basically play a format 4 out, 1 in. I do a lot of relocations of the drive. After a pass, we never cut. I mean, I don't cut. I don't cut. After a pass, we swing the basketball around, and then we just drive, we kick it, and then we relocate. Okay, that's in terms of our offense. I love pick and roll. I love pick and roll. Since we play FIBA ruling and we have the shot clock. I don't know how is that in high school these days. You guys have shot clock.
There's a couple states that have the shot clock, not a lot
Okay.
though.
So we actually, when there's 10 seconds left of the shot clock, we always go into a pick and roll set. Always. There's a ball screen. Okay. What is actual difference is the colors. If we call it color, is different action that we do.
Right. Okay. What do you look for in a recruit when you're recruiting?
First of all, it's attitude. I would say attitude. Well, actually, basically, what's obvious in terms of skill set. Okay, if it's skilled, then we go to other things. Right here, Puerto Rico players are basically the good ones are basically in the same level in terms of how good they are. What actually makes a difference, it's the actual discipline in terms of the kid. Their attitude. Okay, if they're a good teammate, if they communicate. Me personally, I am very big on talking on defense. Since
Right.
In Puerto Rico, we don't encourage it. We don't do it as much as we should. So in terms of communicating, if I hear somebody talking on defense, that's somebody that has my attention like real quick, because that's rare in our basketball. Right here in Puerto Rico, people, we don't talk in defense, right? We also play a lot of zones.
You can't play defense if you don't talk.
Yeah,
That's
but
like,
the thing is, we actually play zone a lot.
really? Why? Is that
Yes, in Puerto Rico, actually, in my opinion, it's easier to teach.
oh, that's interesting.
It's easier to teach a zone than to teach man-to-man principles.
Well, that is true.
Yeah. So we practice zones a lot. That's why um, our kids don't talk as much as defense as they should.
Right.
Also, we don't have any discipline, on stopping the ball, since there's always going to be someone to help.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and do you only recruit from Puerto Rico?
Actually, we must. There's a rule in our league that we can only bring only one outsider per sport. So if I'm coaching girls basketball, I can only bring one person outside of Puerto Rico to play in the team. Only one per team.
And do all the teams have one from outside?
We don't, but some of the teams do. Well, actually, in our league, only two teams.
Okay. What about
Only
the
two.
guys' side?
On the guys' side, let me think. I would say not right now, not this year. This year, all the players were from Puerto Rico. But when I used to be assistant coach in another university, and we won the championship of that year, and we had a player from Venezuela that was actually really, really good. He was the MVP of the league. He now plays pro here in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
So,
And how does the pro league work?
um, it's called the BSN, Baloncesto Superior Nacional. Translation would be National Superior Basketball, something like that. The league starts basically in March, April, in May, and it's still running actually. The finals are right now. It starts in May, probably it goes till around July, mid-July. There's usually 2 month and a half, 3 month tournament.
Okay.
Okay, so in terms of it's 8 teams actually right now. There were more, but the economy, the
Right.
teams are falling. Um, 8 teams, 15 players per team. I guess that's pretty universal.
And how much?
And in
And how
terms,
much? And how many people come watch those games?
Depends on the team. The big teams will have a 16,000 people stadium full at capacity, but I would say that there's only like around two teams that have that type of fan base. The other teams are basically depending on the days. Could be 100, 200, 300. It all depends on the day.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's good money actually. It was
It
good, but
is.
there's some people that actually 90,000, $100,000
Well, that's
for
really good.
for 3 months of work.
Yeah, I'll take
Yeah,
that.
I'll take them in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, exactly. So it's not bad money in terms of comparison with
Right.
other pro league.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I'm sure there's been. Who's the most famous Puerto Rican basketball player?
JJ Barea, Carlos Arroyo, those are the ones that play NBA.
Right.
JJ Barea plays in Dallas Maps. Yeah, he
Yep.
won the
Yep.
best. He won a championship with the Maps. Carlos Arroyo, that was actually he played in the Heat when LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and all that.
And how did their development? Did they come to the States to play college?
That's pretty much it. Or players that are basically in the pro league, the one born and raised in Puerto Rico, they at some point had to go away to the States to study high school, to study college. It's
Okay.
because the culture, Puerto Rico is so small, that when there's a basketball court in a corner and the other corner, it's the people around,
Right.
the liquor
Yeah.
store,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
partying.
Everything.
So yeah, so it's very seductive, for a basketball player to get involved with the culture around it. So
They gotta
they have
go.
to go. They gotta go. They
Yeah,
gotta
that
go.
makes sense. Is there one coaching moment that might help someone listening that you've experienced, like a good, a positive one or a negative one or anything like that?
Okay, can you rephrase the question?
Yeah. So, is there one moment when you've been coaching in your coaching journey that would be like an aha moment for another coach? Like, ooh, you learned something. Um,
Actually, I don't know if it would describe um as an aha moment, or I don't know if I'm answering your question. But I can actually say, when you're coaching and you see the game happening, and your coach and you sit in the game and you think that what things are gonna go, things that happen in your head, and things,
right.
okay, now it's gonna happen this, and then it actually happened, right?
Right.
So I don't know if you would describe it as an aha moment.
I think it is because I think if you coach long enough, it happens. I do. I think
Yeah,
that's an aha moment because if you do this long enough, eventually what happens is
exactly.
you experience everything.
It's a, so that's a moment, that's a moment that
Right.
when you realize that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
your calling.
Yes. That you're. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. What do you think the hardest thing to teach is?
uh in our culture, I would say the hardest in terms of skills and in terms of basketball in general.
Both. Both. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe leadership. Maybe basketball. I know what I think is the hardest for basketball, but
Yeah, actually, in our culture, leadership is leadership, and to follow leadership, it's tough, because of the way we are. We are raised to be, like, we don't have to take anything for anybody. Don't
right.
take criticism. That's how the regular culture raised us to be. So it's actually tough, for the kids to understand that when somebody calls you out, it's not negative, that it's
Right.
positive, that they just want the best for you.
Right.
So that is actually tough, tough
Okay.
to teach in our environment. And in terms of this skill set, the hardest to teach right here, I would say footwork, because it's complicated.
That's what I
And
was gonna say too.
yeah, and it's not complicated, it's actually simple, but not everything that is simple is easy.
Right.
So footwork is this thing that you can see from the outside. It looks real simple, it really is. So, oh, I can do it. And you when you mess with it and you start doing it, you can't figure it out. and
Right.
they get frustrated. I was like, okay, I don't like this. They
Right.
start, I don't like that. I don't want to do it.
It's one of those things when you think about it, it gets harder too. Like
Yeah.
I describe it as if you've ever backed up a boat before, if you've ever had a
Hmm.
car and a boat to the back and you've backed it up, like if you turn the
Mm,
wheel right, the boat goes left. The
yeah,
thing is you have to become one with the boat when you back up a boat. It's like
definitely.
footwork needs to become this. If you start thinking about it, you're putting things in the wrong spot.
Uh-huh.
It's got to become second nature. Um,
Definitely.
what would you tell yourself 10 years? What would you tell a younger coach or your younger self about coaching?
Well, first of all,
Stop! Don't do it.
no, no, no. I actually encourage a lot of people, to get involved with the basketball. But I always tell people that make sure that they're doing it for the right reasons. When you get into coaching, things are not going to be about you.
Right,
The world's not going to revolve around you. It's
right,
very easy to get basketball training or coaching right now is very seductive because all the hype of social media.
right,
So
right.
but actually when you actually been around it long enough, you'll figure out that it's not about you actually. And
Right.
yeah, and if you're not properly equipped, you can I mean you can destroy somebody, to call
Right.
to put it in a way. You can actually help somebody to succeed, okay, or you can bring someone really down. I don't know if I'm expressing myself correctly in
No, you
English.
are. You are. Yeah, I
Okay.
agree. It's like I think it's a reason some people become teachers too. It's like you
Yeah.
don't become teachers to become famous.
Exactly.
It's like
Exactly.
you're trying to make a difference at one point at a time. Um, is there anything you change about the game?
If there's anything I would change about the game, I think we had this conversation at PGC. I don't
Did
know,
we?
or
We
or
might
we
have.
or we were talking some about the rule changing. We were talking about the rule changing, about the rule FIBA rule changes and stuff.
Right.
Uh, if I would change something in the basketball game, um, let's
Or
say like
anything. Like I personally would change more developmental and less games when they're little. That's what I would change. If I could change something and I had a wand and I could just make it happen, I'd make them
uh,
do more skill before they were allowed to play, especially 5 on
actually.
5. Maybe 2 on 2 and 3 on 3 until they're at least
That,
in.
that's the Canada model
Yeah,
actually.
I
That's the way
know.
they do. That's the way they do it in Canada. So if I would change something in my culture in Puerto Rico, I would say actually less games and more work.
Right.
Let me be specific about this. We have a tournament that starts in September and finishes in November. Okay, and December we have another tournament that's 1 month long, and we start another one. There's 3 tournaments in January besides high school season.
So what do you mean by tournaments? Is like they come and play all week? They play on the weekends? They
No,
play at night?
they play on the week. They play on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, and they
Okay.
practice it during the week, basically 2 times per week, 3 times depending on the team. And
Okay.
the club, there's basketball clubs like in AAU, like AAU clubs.
Right.
There's grassroots like club
Hmm.
club teams.
Hmm.
There's in Puerto Rico. I would say there are like 300 to 400 basketball clubs down here. It's crazy because it's actually, yeah, that thing is actual business.
It
It's
is.
an
It
act.
is. It's a.
It is.
Yeah, the people are making money. Yeah.
People are making big money.
Right.
People are making big money, and in, people we are so fans about the basketball game. In terms of the basketball clubs make a lot of money. Also, the coaches that run clinics do skill work. Also, they make pretty decent money.
Right.
In terms of that, because all the parents they want to live their dream through their kids.
Right.
I wanted to be a player, so my son's gonna be a player. I was like, man,
Right.
get over yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Every week I receive calls. Oh, I want you to train my son, my kid. I wanted my kid to go to the NBA. I was like, okay, just chill.
Yeah.
Right? Let's.
So here, I always do the math with parents that say that to me. I say there's almost 8 billion people in the world, and there's 260 some NBA players. the probability of your kid playing in the NBA is basically zero.
Yeah, definitely. No, I would say I actually I have this story. It's actually pretty funny. Um, when we are in our group of coaches, and we pretty much do like a group of coaches. Let's do a clinic over or at some place,
Right.
and we go over there to the clinic. There's always one parent that always asks that question about the NBA stuff, and
Right.
actually, there's 6 million people um from Puerto Rico. Okay, so out of 6 million, there's only one person that plays the NBA right now. That it's JJ Barea.
Right.
I'll say, based on those numbers, that those are real numbers. You
Right.
have your opportunity is 1 out of 6 million. So
Right.
you have more chance to getting struck by lightning 10 times in your life
Right.
to play in
Yeah,
the
go
NBA.
buy a lottery ticket if you think that's going to happen. I know.
Exactly. So I always that specific parent that analogy, and all the coaches are looking at me like that. Why you have to destroy their dreams like that?
You're
I
not
was
just.
like, "Man,
I wouldn't say that to the kid. I never destroy a kid's dream. It's like
but that's your parent. It's the
that's the
parent.
parent. That's the difference. If a kid says they want, my son said he wanted to be a major league baseball player and a basketball player when he was little. I didn't tell him he couldn't do it. I knew he
That's a good dream. That's a good
could. It's a
dream.
great
But it's not a
dream.
goal. It's not a goal. It's not a goal. It's a dream.
It's a dream, and you should dream. People should dream big. So I never
Yeah,
squash the dream. But if a parent has that, then that's a different story. Because
exactly.
you have to live in the world where the sky is blue.
Exactly.
Don't, because they're kids. All right, so I'm going to go through and do my rapid fire. So I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to give me a quick response. All right,
Okay.
what one word to describe your ideal player?
Team player.
Okay. One sporting event that you've been to, your best sporting event you've been to, that you personally have been to.
Jordan Brand Classic in New York.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Who was in that?
That was the class. It was Samario Samuels, and it was only Tyreek Evans. Was also, oh my God, I forgot the name of the point guard. When he graduated from high school, he went to Italy to play pro because he didn't want to go to.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah. So that was that class.
What's your favorite pregame meal?
Favorite pregame meals: rice and beans.
Really?
Yeah,
What kind of beans?
like red beans. It has yeah, it is. It's all depending on the portion. That covers pretty much, the 70-20-10.
Oh, it does. It does. Yeah. Okay. Do you eat a lot of rice?
In Puerto Rican culture, we do. I don't, but in our culture, we do.
It is.
We, rice and beans. There's a lot of it.
Okay. I love rice and beans. One skill not being taught today. We've already kind of talked about that, didn't we? We talked about footwork. One thing you do to relax.
One thing I do relax: go to the beach.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have the beach right next door. I live on an island. I'm literally 10 minutes away from the beach.
Okay,
15
so
minutes away from the beach.
how long does it take to drive around? Let's say you start at one end of Puerto Rico and you drive around. How long does it take to drive it around?
Around, I don't know, but I would say from corner to corner, it takes me 4 hours tops. From
Wow.
one corner to the other. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say around, but I would say from one
How's
corner.
traffic? Because like in Hawaii, like on the Big Island, it's horrible because there's like 3 roads.
It depends on where you're going, but traffic, it's not like New York.
Right.
Like New York traffic is
Or
the worst I've
Boston.
seen in my.
No,
Yeah,
Boston's worse. Boston and
been in
Rome are
Boston.
worse. Boston and Rome. Rome's horrible. Rome.
Yeah.
No one should drive in Rome. Boston's bad too, though.
Yeah, but in terms of traffic, well, in rush hour, obviously it's bad, but there's always cars moving. It's not like New York. In New York,
Okay.
I was literally 2 hours without moving.
Yeah, you're better
I
off
was,
jumping on the subway, man. You're better jumping on the subway. I'm telling you.
Yeah, definitely.
One coaching technique that you think is important.
What do you mean? Okay,
Technique. One thing in your toolbox that thinks important for coaching basketball. What's one
communication skills.
Okay.
The ability to break things down in order to make it easier for the player to understand.
I agree. I like that one. Best player you have seen in person.
Best player I've seen in person. Um, my wife is cutting in. I've seen in person. Okay. Let me rephrase that question. Seen in person? Do you mean by actually seen him play or seen in person?
Seen in person.
And Michael Jordan.
You saw Michael Jordan play.
Yeah, and the Jordan. But I don't know. Play? No.
No, playing.
Playing. Okay, playing. I would say AI Iverson.
Really?
Yeah, in Puerto Rico I think it was the pre-world that was
It
like
was
10
something.
years ago. Yeah,
Okay. Who's
yeah.
the best player of all time?
MJ.
Yeah, I agree. One thing that helped you become a better coach.
Um, learning how to teach.
Okay.
Learning how to teach.
What do you
Not
mean by that?
well, yeah. Not every player learns in the same way. So in order for you to get on their mind, you have to figure out how do they learn.
Right.
Actually, we teach that. I teach that at my clinics. The first thing when I receive somebody new, I always tell them we have to figure out how do you learn,
Right.
because once you figure out how do you learn, if you're visual, if you're kinesthetic, if you're based on rhythm. I learn by seeing and by rhythm in terms of movement patterns. So if we figure out a way of how they learn, it's going to be easier for me to teach them actually anything, and that is going to go beyond the basketball court. If they figure out how to learn, if they know how to learn, how do they learn? That is actually going to transcend. It's going to go way beyond basketball, and it's going to be based on their personal life and its actual school. And then actually, teachers, they get very frustrated when they can get to a kid. It's basically they don't know them.
Right.
Okay, and basically some kids, they don't know themselves.
Right.
So one thing that we can actually control on our environment is actually teaching the kid on how does he learn, and when or he teaching himself how does he learn, and when he's figured out, it's actually very, very powerful.
Okay. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it transcends basketball. I agree. I think if you can teach them more than just that specific basketball skill,
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
it's life. It's a life lesson. What's your favorite quote?
um basketball quote or quote
Any
inquiry,
quote.
whatever.
Any quote.
Failing to prepare is preparing to fail.
Okay.
you know uh
It's
so
true.
yeah, actually, um as I tell my wife, I'm not very organized in terms of everything in my life. It's at work.
Right.
so, but in terms of work, I am very methodic. I don't know if
Right.
is that the word in English, and organized. But based on actual life, the wife takes care of it,
Mm.
basically everything.
Well,
Yeah.
I hear you.
So,
I hear you. One word that describes your coaching style.
um, one word that describe my coaching style. Uh, team play. I don't
Okay.
know. It's the correct word in English.
No, that's perfect. Who's the best basketball coach of all time?
The best basketball coach of all, Greg Popovich.
I
I,
like
will-
that.
I will. There's an argument. We have an argument instead of beside between John Wooden and Greg Popovich.
I think it's
So,
Pop.
but
Man.
yeah, but I mean, I would say Pop.
Okay.
Pop is so great.
Is there one book you would recommend?
One book I recommend. Leading with the Heart from Mike
Oh,
Krzyzewski.
I like that one too. That was one of his early ones, I think.
Yeah.
Um, so as a parting thing, what's one thing you would tell a coach that's out there that's listening to this podcast about Puerto Rico basketball, about coaching? Is there any parting words you'd like to share?
Um. I would say, well, in terms of basketball in general, if you're starting coaching, make sure you do your homework every day. Make sure you do your homework. Try to study. Even I mean, especially if you're not from a player background, if you didn't play the game or you didn't play as much as you like, do your homework of studying. Study
Right.
every day.
Study
Study every day.
study things
Every
that
day.
aren't basketball related. I'm telling you,
Exactly.
study leaders, study people that are able to deal with groups. I mean, everything is important because
Yeah.
especially if you're coaching young people, the person that shows up on Tuesday might not be the same person that shows up on Wednesday.
I'm I'm sure. I'm sure, and especially you're coaching girls.
Oh yeah. It's
Yeah,
like,
if you're
and
coaching,
you
oh,
need to
it's
realize
it's
that
so
you don't, it's like I always tell my guys, it's like if someone's like, we'll check into a hotel or we'll be doing something and the person will be cranky or the man will be cranky. I said, you don't know their story.
yeah,
You don't
definitely,
know what
definitely.
happened in their day. So give them a break, smile and move on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, coach. I appreciate it. How hot is it there today? It's like 99 today in Wisconsin.
Well, I would say right now, I would say it's around 80 plus 80 or something. But the thing is, it was raining, so it's humid.
Oh yeah. It's humid here
So it's
too.
yeah, so it's hot and humid, so it gets sticky.
Oh, yeah, but you can walk like 3 blocks and get on a beach. I can't do
Yeah,
that. So, all right. Thank you, coach.
no problem at all. Thank you for
Thanks.
having me.
Yep.
Hey, Coach. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you go over and check out teachhoops.com up above and down below. Let me help you win championships just like me. Lots of rings. Teachhoops.com is a community. It's mentoring for me, one-on-one calls, office hours, you name it. We'll help you. And lots of resources. So make sure you go over and check it out. Let me know how we can help you become a better basketball coach.